To me, 2 million is a trifle. Then banker said that for him 2 million is just a less value, little value, but you are losing 3 or 4 of the best years of your life. But he said to the lawyer that he is going to lose 3 or 4 years of his life. I say 3 or 4. Why did banker say 3 or 4 years? Because he thought that the lawyer will not stay longer. The lawyer would not be able to stay for a long period of time. And now, but when the 15 years were going to over, the banker was walking to and fro in his study, remembered all this by thinking about the past, and asked himself, and now he was asking himself that what was the object meaning his aim, what was the aim of this bet? What is the good of that man's losing 15 years? Means what he would get at the place of losing 15 years of his life, and my throwing away 2 millions, and what is my gain in giving 2 millions to that lawyer? Can it prove that death penalty is better or the worse than the imprisonment for life? Whether it can prove that punishment of death is better than the lifelong imprisonment? No, it was all nonsensical. Nonsensical meaning is foolish, that has no sense, and it is all meaningless. On my part, it was a caprice. And he said, at that time, when he had offered 2 millions, at that time it was a caprice. Caprice meaning is a sudden change of a pampered man. Pampered meaning is dealt with too gently, means it was a sudden change for the person who was dealt gently. And on his part and from the lawyer side, it was simple greed for money. It was a greed for money. Then he remembered what followed that evening, that what had happened that evening when they had put a bet. It was decided that the young man should spend the years of his captivity under the strictest supervision in one of the lodges in the banker's garden. And they had made some rules, and in those rules it was written that the lawyer had to spend the years for 15 years of his captivity. Captivity meaning is being held as a prisoner. The lawyer would be kept as a prisoner under the strict supervision, under the strict observation in one of the lodges. Lodges meaning is a place, small room, in the small room which was in the banker's garden. It was agreed that for 15 years he should not be free to cross the threshold. Threshold meaning is boundary of the lodge, means he would not come out for those 15 years. He would not come out from the lodge to see human being. He will not be able to see any human being. He will not be able to hear the human voice or to receive letter, means he would disconnect himself with from the outer world. He would not be able to receive any letters or any newspapers. He was allowed to have a musical instrument and books, means he can take musical instruments, books, and he was allowed to write letter. He could write letters, he could drink wine, and he can smoke even by living in that closed room. By the terms of the agreement and which rules they had made for the agreement for the bet, the only relation he could have with the outer world were by a little window, means if he want to keep a relation with the outer world, if he want as we had read now that he was allowed to take instrument, books or letters, wines or smoke, then how he would get these things? He would get these things by a little window which was made purposely for that object, which was made for this purpose only. He might have anything he wanted, means he could get anything, whatever he want, like books, music, wine and many other things, whatever he wished, in any quantity, and how much quantity he want he would be able to take. He desired by writing an order, and whatever order he has to make, he has to write that order on a paper, but could only receive them through a window, and he would get that thing, what he would order, he would get that thing through the window. The agreement provided for every detail, and in the agreement means they had written each and every detail in the written form, and every trifle that would make his imprisonment strictly solitary, and bound the young man to stay there exactly 15 years. And they had written each and everything, either it was a small or a big thing, which would make the imprisonment strictly solitary, and these rules would make the imprisonment of lawyer very strict, and it would bound the young man to stay there exactly 15 years. And these 15 years would start from 12 o'clock of November 14, 1870 and end at 12 o'clock of November 14, 1885. The slightest attempt on his part to break the condition, and if the lawyer would try to break any rule, any condition, if only either that he would break it before the 2 minutes before the end of the bet, release the banker from the obligation, then the banker will also break the obligation meaning is deal, which what kind of deal the banker has made, that he would pay him 2 millions. Means if the banker would leave, or if the banker would break any condition just before 2 minutes before the bet will over, then the banker will break the deal of paying him 2 millions. For the first year of his confinement, of the first year of his punishment, as far as one could judge from his brief notes, means which notes he had left, if someone would read those and find out that the prisoner suffered severely meaning is greatly, the prisoner had to suffer a lot from loneliness, because he was alone in the lodge, and depression, even he had felt depression, he became depressed or he became tensed. The sounds of the piano could be heard continually day and night from his lodge, and in the first year he was continuously playing piano. The sound could be heard from the lodge. He refused wine and tobacco. He refused to take wine or tobacco because he said wine excites the desires. Excites meaning is to cause strong feeling, and desires are the worst foes. Desire meaning is wish, that he would wish to take more and more if he would start drinking wine, and these desires are the worst foes. Foes meaning is enemies of the prisoner. And besides, and with this, nothing could be more dreary meaning is sad, than drinking good wine and seeing no one. Means it is not good for him that if he would start drinking wine but he would not be able to meet anyone, then it would be bad for him, it would be worse for him. And tobacco, and he refused tobacco because he thought it would spoil the air of the room. In the first year, the books he sent for were principally of a light character, and in the first year which books he had started reading, these were the of the light character, means not a complicated stories. He read the novels with a complicated love plot, in which love stories were there. Complicated meaning is hard to understand, means not simple love stories were there. Sensational meaning is full of thrill, in which there were suspense, a lot of suspense was there. And fantastic stories. Fantastic meaning is not real stories, and many other books he had written the order for these types of books for the first year.